Liberty Hill presents its Founders Award to those whose philanthropy embodies the spirit of change, not charity, and whose exceptional generosity and social justice activism is helping to realize equality and justice for all. Tonight, we celebrate the 2022 Founders Award honoree, the Meltzer Sieroty family, for their generosity and legacy of support.
We're at Clock Shop, which is our space in Elysian Valley, right along the Los Angeles River. What Clock Shop does is bring arts and culture programming and projects to public space and public land in Los Angeles. My great-grandfather came to Los Angeles at the turn of the century. The first business that he had was selling clocks door to door. And so the name of Clock Shop is an homage to that first business. And then that business of selling clocks door to door became a dry goods store. And then that grew into a department store that was run by my great-grandfather and cousins called Eastern Columbia.
My mother was born in Poland. At a very early age, she was traumatized and sensitized to anti-Semitism and injustice when a gang of boys circled her and called her a dirty Jew.
Our history of philanthropy that I'm aware of goes back to my great-uncle welcoming my great-grandmother and her 7 children.
She was saved from the gas chambers because they were part of a loving family that brought the family to the West Coast and set them up in an apartment.
I imagine that sense of responsibility towards other family members was embraced by my grandmother. And then maybe she took that a step further.
She became involved with Jewish philanthropic works, and eventually she became very political.
Living in Los Angeles at the time of the war and thinking about all of the relatives that maybe weren't able to get out and having responsibility to the Jewish community who was there. I have another grandmother, Rose, who was also an immigrant from Poland. She was sent by her family and took the boat by herself, I think when she was maybe 14 or 15. She always said to me, like, we have rights here, we had no rights there, you know? And so both sides, both grandmothers, had that experience. So I take that from both of them.
My father was an Eisenhower Republican. My mother was a progressive. And so the dinner table was often a place of debate.
And my grandmother welcomed many people into her home and had a lot of political meetings, among those Paul Robeson, Coretta Scott King, Eleanor Roosevelt. And her home was a gathering place for a lot of political conversations.
As I think back about it, I'm very proud of my family. We met with our children and we visited charitable organizations, and we gave grants to a couple of them that we thought were good.
You know, I'll say, like, families giving together can be complicated because you need to give your kids space to have beliefs that are different than yours. And Liberty Hill is a great umbrella for that for our family. I distinctly remember my mom bringing me to the Liberty Hill office when it existed on the 3rd Street Promenade, which I think just had maybe 2 or 3 employees then. So I've watched the organization grow. I've had many friends who have worked there.
I also have gotten to spend such beautiful moments with Beth and Julia, dreaming together, strategizing together about how to get resources to the front lines of these fights.
It's really large here. We have millions of people who live here. And so organizations that bring people together around values are really important.
It's hard to find the words to express the love and appreciation I have for the Meltzer Sieroty family. I guess it feels like they have wrapped their arms around Liberty Hill, around Los Angeles, around folks on the front lines of these battles. They've just wrapped their arms around all of us.
My siblings and their families also have donor-advised funds, and I think they all feel like, of all the places that you might choose to be philanthropic, that Liberty Hill is a place where it's like we can identify our values there.